The wedding day unfolded with all the expected trappings of celebration and formality. The venue was a picturesque setting, bathed in soft sunlight that filtered through tall stained glass windows, projecting colorful patterns across the polished stone floors. Rows of elegantly decorated chairs stretched neatly, filled with guests clad in their finest attire, faces beaming with anticipation, happiness, and the quiet energy that accompanies a gathering charged with love and promise. The air was a delicate blend of floral arrangements and the faint scent of polished wood, mingling with the rustle of fabric and whispered conversations. As I arrived, the hum of excitement coupled with a prevailing sense of tradition enveloped me. The gentle melody of a string quartet played in the background, their harmonious notes weaving through the murmur of greetings and laughter. Family members mingled in small clusters, exchanging warm embraces and stories, while others found their seats, their expressions shifting from casual cheer to solemn reflection as the ceremony's start neared. The atmosphere was quintessentially a celebration of union, joy, and connection, a time when relationships were honored and new beginnings celebrated. Around me, there were smiles, tearful glances, and whispers of anticipation, all the emotions that accompany a transformative moment in a family's story. Yet beneath the surface of this festive setting, I carried a quiet unease. Weddings, with their intense focus on family and togetherness, often magnified existing dynamics, past conflicts, and unspoken tensions. The gravity of these emotions lingered invisibly, like an undercurrent beneath the joyous waves cresting across the room. I scanned the room, taking in familiar faces, friends who had been constant through life's ups and downs, and family members whose presence brought comfort or, at times, subtle reminders of unresolved struggles. Each face held stories intertwined with mine, some of support and love, others tinged with complexity and distance. The arrangement of the venue itself reflected underlying social currents. The bridal party's pristine white dresses and formal tuxedos stood in contrast with whispering groups congregated at the back, sometimes casting sideways glances. Seating arrangements, a visible manifestation of family politics, subtly shaped who was included, who was segregated, and the invisible lines that divided conviviality from exclusion. Amid this, I found myself both participant and observer, caught between the celebratory role expected of me and the internal narrative shaped by past experiences and family dynamics. The wedding, a visible spectacle of love and unity, was also a stage where personal emotions played out in hushed undertones and fleeting expressions. As I took my place among the guests, anticipation mingled with apprehension. The scent of fresh flowers and sound of polite laughter contrasted with an internal tension, an awareness that beneath this beautiful event lay complex relationships and fragile emotions. The space seemed poised between celebration and tension, a delicate balance that would soon tip into an unforgettable moment. This setting, the light-filled, ornate church, the carefully arranged guests, the hum of reverence and joy, served as the backdrop for a day meant to honor love, but that also exposed vulnerabilities and truths. It was in this atmosphere, vibrant yet charged, that the unfolding of the evening's poignant and personal events began. The stage was set for moments of quiet confrontation, unexpected recognition, and deep reflection. Moments that would etch themselves into the fabric of my life's story. As the ceremony commenced, the air was thick with the solemnity and sacredness that weddings often inspire. Guests hushed as the bridal procession entered, each step measured and deliberate, drawing eyes and hearts forward. The organ music swelled, filling the space with its resonant power, and a serene sense of reverence settled over the congregation. The moment demanded attention, unity, and a shared sense of honor for the vows about to be exchanged. Amidst this collective focus, I felt the weight of personal history pressing quietly against the communal celebration. Family was not just a word here. It was an intricate web of relationships, some tender, some fraught, that shaped the very meaning of the day. The faces around me radiated joy and hope, but I could not entirely mask the shadow cast by unspoken grievances and lingering emotional wounds. It was then, within the softened murmur of the ceremony and the rustle of white dresses and dark suits, that my sister leaned in close, her whisper sinking into my ear with unexpected sharpness. "Nobody cares about you." The words landed like a sudden crack amidst the solemn harmony, shattering the fragile veneer of peace I had maintained. Her voice was low, meant for only me, but heavy with intent, a mix of disdain, dismissal, and a complicated history of rivalry and resentment. The whispered declaration was not just cold. It was a severe denial of my existence in a space already fraught with emotional complexity. It cut through the ambient sounds, isolating me in a bubble of shock and pain. For a moment, my mind froze, attempting to reconcile the sweetness of the occasion with the bitterness of her words. The contrast was stark. A celebration of union and care on one hand, and a whispered rejection so intimate and raw on the other. Her words echoed painfully, amplified by the silence of the surrounding guests who were oblivious to the private cruelty. The whisper threatened to unravel the composure I had painstakingly preserved. It forced me inward, igniting a swirl of emotions: hurt, disbelief, sorrow, and a burgeoning need to assert my own presence in a moment that excluded me. I felt the sting of invisibility within my own family, where the very people meant to acknowledge and cherish me instead questioned my worth. Yet, amid the turmoil, a quiet strength began to kindle. The whispered dismissal sparked reflections on belonging and the fundamental human need to be seen and valued, not just by strangers or acquaintances, but most deeply by those closest to us. I realized that this moment embodied a larger struggle for recognition and acceptance that resonated far beyond the walls of the church. The juxtaposition of my sister's harsh words with the beauty and solemnity of the ceremony deepened the emotional complexity of the evening. It underscored the fragile dynamics of family, where love and conflict often coexist uneasily, shaping moments of connection and alienation alike. Despite the sting of rejection, I gathered myself, understanding that this moment was a crossroads, a choice between succumbing to pain or affirming my resilience. The whispered words, though meant to diminish, instead illuminated the very human need to claim space, voice, and validation. As the ceremony continued, I remained keenly aware of my place in that room, not just physically, but emotionally and symbolically. I watched as vows were exchanged, rings slipped onto fingers, and promises made beneath the vaulted ceilings. In this sacred space, I grappled with my own internal vows, to honor my worth, to seek authentic belonging, and to confront familial pain with courage and grace. This first topic, the arrival and atmosphere at the wedding, serves as the foundation for understanding the emotional landscape that shaped the night's unfolding events. It reveals how moments of celebration can also expose vulnerabilities, and how whispered words, though soft, can resonate with profound impact. Underneath the glimmering chandeliers and the floral splendor, the evening was poised on the delicate tension between unity and division, acceptance and rejection. A tension that would soon transform into a pivotal moment in my life story. As the ceremony progressed, the juxtaposition of celebration and personal turmoil intensified. The priest's voice echoed through the chapel, invoking blessings, love, and unity, words that contrasted sharply with the bitterness quietly whispered moments before. The unity celebrated was not yet my own. Instead, I felt caught between being part of this family event and feeling profoundly isolated within it. The guests sat attentively, absorbed in the sacred rituals unfolding before us. Flowers gleamed softly in the gentle lighting, and delicate fabric swished with every movement of the bridal party. Around me, smiles and tears gently mingled, marking the significance of the couple's commitment. Yet, despite the beauty and solemnity, my sister's whispered dismissal lingered like a shadow, a quiet rupture in the fabric of the ceremony. Her words haunted me, stirring deep wells of insecurity and longing. I wrestled internally with the ache of exclusion, not just from this occasion, but from a relationship where love seemed conditional and attention scarce. The phrase, "nobody cares about you," felt like a condemnation that echoed through years of subtle neglect, misunderstandings, and unspoken grievances. At the same time, amid the turmoil, I became acutely aware of my own yearning, to be seen, acknowledged, and included. It was a universal human desire made sharply visible by the contrast between the communal celebration and personal rejection. I found myself scanning the faces of the guests, seeking silent affirmations, small nods, or kind smiles that could anchor me in the midst of emotional turbulence. Despite the emotional weight, the ceremony continued with its rituals of affirmation. The exchanging of vows, the lighting of unity candles, and the melodic hymns were profound symbols of connection and hope. For a fleeting moment, I allowed myself to feel part of something larger, hopeful that belonging was possible, even if fragile. Yet, the emotional undercurrents persisted. My sister's whisper was more than a sharp rebuke. It was a reminder of fractured bonds and the challenging realities of family relationships. The pain of this duality, celebrating union while feeling unmoored, was deeply felt. At this moment, caught between exclusion and the solemn beauty surrounding me, an unexpected turn occurred. The priest, who had been quietly officiating the service, suddenly called my name. The gentle murmur of voices hushed further as heads slowly turned in my direction. This unexpected calling pulled me from my introspective haze and thrust me into the ceremony's heart. As eyes settled on me, a mix of surprise, curiosity, and expectation filled the room. The priest's clear, deliberate voice cut through the emotional fog, inviting me forward. Confused yet compelled, I rose, moving slowly down the aisle. My steps echoed softly in the hushed space as I approached the altar. Each movement was imbued with a mixture of vulnerability and strength, exposed yet empowered by the attention. The journey from the pew to the altar became symbolic, a path from invisibility to recognition, from whispered dismissal to public acknowledgement. The room's collective gaze shifted from disbelief to warmth as I stood beside the couple, momentarily transforming my role from an outsider to one embraced, if only briefly, in the ceremony's light. This calling was more than a procedural moment. It was a profound turning point. It challenged the whispered dismissal of invisibility with a spoken acknowledgement of presence and significance. The priest's gesture spoke volumes about belonging and redemption, affirming that even in the face of rejection, recognition and inclusion are possible. The sound of my name, spoken clearly within the sacred space, became a balm, an unexpected affirmation that transcended family conflict. It was a moment of grace, quiet yet powerful, opening a new chapter in the unfolding story of exclusion, acceptance, and self-worth. This event, set against the backdrop of tradition and communal celebration, marked a decisive shift in my emotional landscape. It underscored the tension between private pain and public acknowledgement, isolation and belonging, rejection and acceptance. In the interplay of whispered cruelty and spoken recognition, a delicate balance was struck, one that would shape my journey toward healing and empowerment. Approaching the altar, my heart pounded with a mix of anxiety and unexpected hope. The solemnity of the moment was palpable, every eye in the room quietly observing my movement forward. Despite the earlier emotional turbulence caused by my sister's whispered words, this public recognition felt like a balm, something I hadn't anticipated but desperately needed. The priest's call not only pulled me into the ceremony but symbolically invited me into a space of visibility and acknowledgement. As I reached the front, near the couple exchanging their vows, the priest's warm gaze met mine. His expression communicated kindness and inclusion, and in that instant, I felt the protective embrace of a compassionate authority. His actions conveyed a powerful message. Here, in this sacred space, I mattered. Though the familial bonds outside of the ceremony carried complexity and pain, this moment was my refuge, a place where I was seen beyond whispered dismissals and old grievances. The priest offered me a role in the proceedings, perhaps to read a passage, offer a blessing, or simply stand as a representative of family and community support. Whatever the role, its significance was not lost on me. It symbolized a tangible bridge between exclusion and inclusion, between feeling overshadowed and stepping into light. As I fulfilled the role assigned by the priest, I felt a swelling of pride and a quiet affirmation of worth. The ceremony's rhythm, the reverent hush of the congregation, and the marked significance of the couple's union all provided a grounding context to channel my emotions into purpose. I realized that this participation was an opportunity not only to witness love and commitment, but also to reclaim my own place within my family's complex narrative. The reactions from the guests varied. Some smiled warmly, while others exchanged glances of surprise or curiosity. Yet, beneath these varied responses was a shared acknowledgement of the moment's deep emotional resonance. The priest's decision to call my name transformed the ceremony into a stage for a broader story, one that embraced both celebration and reconciliation, visibility and healing. Standing at the altar, immersed in the ceremony's sacredness, I contemplated the fragility and strength inherent in family ties. The whisper of exclusion from my sister contrasted sharply with the priest's public recognition, highlighting a profound duality. This moment underscored that belonging is not a static state but a dynamic, sometimes fragile, experience shaped by love, conflict, and the willingness to honor each individual's worth. As the ceremony continued, I carried with me a renewed sense of resilience and possibility. The priest's call had framed my presence not as an afterthought but as an integral part of the family mosaic. It reminded me that even amid discord, moments of grace and acknowledgement can emerge, offering pathways toward healing and renewed connection. In this sacred space, I found a measure of peace, a brief but powerful respite from feelings of invisibility. The evening's unfolding events, marked by whispered rejection and spoken acceptance, formed a poignant narrative about the complexities of family, the human need for recognition, and the courage to claim one's place. This pivotal moment at the altar was not just about participation in a wedding ceremony. It was an act of profound personal significance. It symbolized hope, belonging, and the possibility of transformation, an invitation to move beyond pain toward acceptance and affirmation. The priest's call, simple yet profound, echoed long after the ceremony ended, a lasting reminder that even in the face of doubt and dismissal, one's presence matters deeply. The wedding day unfolded with all the expected trappings of celebration and formality. The venue was a picturesque setting, bathed in soft sunlight that filtered through tall stained glass windows, projecting colorful patterns across the polished stone floors. Rows of elegantly decorated chairs stretched neatly, filled with guests clad in their finest attire, faces beaming with anticipation, happiness, and the quiet energy that accompanies a gathering charged with love and promise. The air was a delicate blend of floral arrangements and the faint scent of polished wood, mingling with the rustle of fabric and whispered conversations. As I arrived, the hum of excitement coupled with a prevailing sense of tradition enveloped me. The gentle melody of a string quartet played in the background, their harmonious notes weaving through the murmur of greetings and laughter. Family members mingled in small clusters, exchanging warm embraces and stories, while others found their seats, their expressions shifting from casual cheer to solemn reflection as the ceremony's start neared. The atmosphere was quintessentially a celebration of union, joy, and connection, a time when relationships were honored and new beginnings celebrated. Around me, there were smiles, tearful glances, and whispers of anticipation, all the emotions that accompany a transformative moment in a family's story. Yet beneath the surface of this festive setting, I carried a quiet unease. Weddings, with their intense focus on family and togetherness, often magnified existing dynamics, past conflicts, and unspoken tensions. The gravity of these emotions lingered invisibly, like an undercurrent beneath the joyous waves cresting across the room. I scanned the room, taking in familiar faces, friends who had been constant through life's ups and downs, and family members whose presence brought comfort or, at times, subtle reminders of unresolved struggles. Each face held stories intertwined with mine, some of support and love, others tinged with complexity and distance. The arrangement of the venue itself reflected underlying social currents. The bridal party's pristine white dresses and formal tuxedos stood in contrast with whispering groups congregated at the back, sometimes casting sideways glances. Seating arrangements, a visible manifestation of family politics, subtly shaped who was included, who was segregated, and the invisible lines that divided conviviality from exclusion. Amid this, I found myself both participant and observer, caught between the celebratory role expected of me and the internal narrative shaped by past experiences and family dynamics. The wedding, a visible spectacle of love and unity, was also a stage where personal emotions played out in hushed undertones and fleeting expressions. As I took my place among the guests, anticipation mingled with apprehension. The scent of fresh flowers and sound of polite laughter contrasted with an internal tension, an awareness that beneath this beautiful event lay complex relationships and fragile emotions. The space seemed poised between celebration and tension, a delicate balance that would soon tip into an unforgettable moment. This setting, the light-filled, ornate church, the carefully arranged guests, the hum of reverence and joy, served as the backdrop for a day meant to honor love, but that also exposed vulnerabilities and truths. It was in this atmosphere, vibrant yet charged, that the unfolding of the evening's poignant and personal events began. The stage was set for moments of quiet confrontation, unexpected recognition, and deep reflection. Moments that would etch themselves into the fabric of my life's story. The moment at the altar also sparked a transformation within me, an internal shift from feeling sidelined to embracing my own strength and presence. As the ceremony progressed, I reflected on the contrast between my sister's whispered dismissal and the priest's formal recognition. This duality brought into sharp relief the complex interplay between rejection and acceptance that often defines family relationships. The priest's call served not only as an external validation but also as a catalyst for reclaiming my voice. It reminded me that visibility is a powerful step toward belonging. In that sacred space, surrounded by witnesses, I was no longer invisible or dismissed. I was seen, affirmed, and valued. This experience deepened my understanding of how moments of kindness and acknowledgement can counterbalance years of neglect and emotional silencing. It gave me hope that even fractured relationships can contain seeds of healing, and that places of tradition and ceremony can become forums for new beginnings. The wedding, with all its beauty and complexity, became a mirror reflecting not just the union of two people, but the intricate dance of human connection, where pain and joy coexist, and where the courage to step forward can transform isolation into inclusion. In the days that followed, this moment at the altar stayed with me as a source of strength and inspiration. It motivated me to seek out spaces and relationships that honor authenticity and offer genuine acceptance. It reminded me that no whisper of dismissal can extinguish the light of self-worth and that sometimes recognition can come from unexpected sources. Ultimately, the wedding was not just a celebration of love between two people, but also a powerful chapter in my own story of resilience, belonging, and the transformative power of acknowledgement. The whispered cruelty and the spoken invitation together shaped a narrative of profound complexity, one that continues to inform my journey toward healing, connection, and self-empowerment. As the wedding ceremony drew to a close, the atmosphere at the reception hall shifted to one of warmth, laughter, and renewal. Guests gathered in clusters, sharing stories, congratulations, and joyful embraces. The soft hum of music mingled with animated conversations, and the air became charged with celebration and hope. Yet beneath this vibrant surface, the echoes of the evening's earlier emotional contrasts remained palpably present within me. The whispered words from my sister, "Nobody cares about you," reverberated like a persistent shadow, a stark reminder of the complexities and fractures within our family. Those words were a harsh articulation of feelings that had long simmered beneath polite gatherings and forced smiles. They encapsulated a sense of exclusion and invisibility that I had struggled to reconcile for years. Her whisper was a wound reopened, sharp and raw, illustrating how familial relationships can carry the deepest pains. Simultaneously, the memory of the priest's call to the altar stood as a luminous counterpoint, a moment of unexpected recognition and inclusion during a day otherwise marked by conflicting emotions. That public acknowledgement, spoken clearly and with kindness, counterbalanced the private dismissal whispered in my ear. It symbolized the possibility of being seen and valued amid estrangement, a powerful testament to the complexity of human connection. As I moved through the reception, surrounded by joyous celebration, I felt a growing inner strength emerging. The experience underscored an essential truth. Belonging is not simply about being accepted by others, especially not limited to family. It fundamentally begins with recognizing one's own worth. The external gestures of validation, whether whispered disregard or spoken recognition, challenged me to find affirmation within myself. In the ensuing conversations and moments of quiet reflection, I began to understand the nuanced nature of familial love and conflict. Families are seldom perfect. They are comprised of individuals with intertwined histories marked by both tenderness and tension. The wedding, with its grandeur and solemnity, became a microcosm of these dynamics, a celebration that illuminated both connection and disconnection. I found myself reflecting on the power dynamics that underlie many family relationships, the unspoken hierarchies, resentments, and unmet expectations that shape interactions. The evening's events revealed how profoundly these dynamics can affect a person's sense of identity and belonging. Yet, amidst these reflections, there was also room for hope. The priest's simple act of calling my name and including me in the ceremony created space for healing, even if tentative. It was a reminder that recognition and reconciliation, though often challenging, remain possible. This hope compelled me to consider ways to engage with family dynamics with greater understanding and compassion, while still protecting my own emotional well-being. More than just a wedding day, the experience became a turning point in my personal narrative, a moment when pain and affirmation intersected to propel me toward greater self-awareness and resilience. It highlighted the importance of setting boundaries, advocating for oneself, and seeking relationships that nurture rather than diminish. The journey following that day involved ongoing work, processing feelings, strengthening self-esteem, and navigating the intricate web of family ties with honesty and care. I learned to acknowledge the validity of my feelings, to lean on supportive friends and mentors, and to cultivate spaces where I could be authentically seen and valued. The wedding served as both a mirror and a catalyst. It reflected the realities of fractured relationships while igniting a commitment to healing and growth. It underscored that the human need for connection and acceptance is universal, yet the pathways to fulfillment are often complex and nonlinear. In embracing these lessons, I found a renewed appreciation for the resilience inherent in the human spirit, the capacity to endure rejection and still seek belonging, to hold pain and hope in balance, and to move forward with courage and grace. Ultimately, the day's blend of whispered cruelty and spoken affirmation shaped a profound narrative about identity, recognition, and the enduring quest for belonging. It taught me that even amid discord, moments of grace and acknowledgement can emerge, lighting the path toward healing and self-empowerment. This story continues to guide me, reminding me that while family dynamics can wound deeply, they do not solely define us. Instead, our responses to these challenges, our choices to seek understanding, to assert worth, and to embrace hope, become the true measure of our strength and humanity. The wedding day's unfolding was not merely an event but a pivotal chapter, rich with complexity, insight, and transformation. It reaffirmed that the journey toward belonging is ongoing, shaped by both the echoes of the past and the promise of new beginnings. It is a testament to resilience, the power of acknowledgement, and the unyielding human desire to be truly seen, heard, and valued. In the weeks and months after the wedding, the emotional imprint of that day continued to shape my thoughts and actions. The sharp contrast between my sister's whispered dismissal and the priest's public acknowledgement became a lens through which I viewed not only my family relationships but also my broader interactions and self-perception. That complex interplay of rejection and inclusion fueled a deeper journey of self-discovery and healing. I found myself revisiting the moments in the church, trying to unpack the layers of meaning hidden within that singular experience. The priest's call, resonating with unexpected warmth and acceptance, served as a symbolic anchor, a reminder that belonging and recognition are not solely contingent on familial approval. This insight gradually shifted my understanding of identity away from external validation toward cultivating an internal sense of worth. Simultaneously, I grappled with lingering feelings of hurt and exclusion stemming from my sister's words. Their impact was profound because they touched upon fundamental fears, the fear of being invisible, of being unloved, and of not matching to those who should care most. Processing these feelings required intentional effort, including seeking support from trusted friends, engaging in reflective writing, and exploring counseling to navigate the emotional complexity. Throughout this period, I also became acutely aware of the patterns and dynamics that often characterize family systems, how unresolved conflicts, unspoken expectations, and historical wounds can shape interactions in subtle but significant ways. Recognizing these patterns allowed me to approach my family relationships with greater compassion, even while maintaining healthy boundaries to protect my well-being. The experience at the wedding also influenced how I approached other relationships in my life. It heightened my sensitivity to the ways people express care and recognition, as well as to subtle forms of exclusion or dismissal. This awareness fostered a more intentional approach to cultivating connections based on mutual respect and genuine appreciation. With time, I embraced the understanding that belonging is a multifaceted and evolving experience. It encompasses moments of deep connection and joy, as well as episodes of conflict and estrangement. Navigating this reality required resilience and the capacity to hold complexity without succumbing to despair. The ceremony's juxtaposition, the whispered cruelty and the spoken invitation, became emblematic of the dualities inherent in so many human relationships. It underscored the delicate balance between vulnerability and strength, between seeking acceptance and affirming self-worth independently. This nuanced perspective empowered me to reinterpret the wedding not just as a singular event, but as a profound narrative pivot, a catalyst encouraging growth, reconciliation, and self-empowerment. It inspired me to engage more deeply with my own story, to embrace both its challenges and triumphs, and to foster hope for ongoing healing. In retrospect, the wedding stands as a testament to the enduring human capacity for transformation. Through the pain of exclusion and the grace of acknowledgement, it illuminated pathways toward greater authenticity, connection, and peace. This journey, marked by whispered shadows and spoken light, continues to unfold, reminding me that the quest for belonging is lifelong, shaped by both the echoes of the past and the possibilities of the present. It is a journey defined not solely by the actions of others, but by my own choices to seek healing, assert worth, and embrace hope amid complexity. Ultimately, the wedding and its emotional reverberations have become a cornerstone of my personal evolution, a story of resilience, courage, and the profound need to be seen and valued. It affirms that no matter the challenges faced, the human spirit holds the power to find connection, meaning, and renewal. As this journey of reflection and healing progressed, I also began to recognize the ways in which the wedding experience informed my broader understanding of identity and belonging beyond family. The painful contrast between my sister's whispered rejection and the priest's public acceptance illuminated universal themes about how people perceive themselves and seek validation in their communities. I realized that many individuals grapple with feelings of invisibility or unworthiness, often rooted in early relational experiences or social dynamics. The interplay between exclusion and inclusion, so vividly embodied in my own story, resonates widely, inviting empathy and understanding across diverse contexts. This awareness deepened my commitment to fostering environments, whether in friendships, workplaces, or social circles, where people feel genuinely seen and valued. It motivated me to advocate for communication marked by kindness and respect, recognizing that small gestures of acknowledgement can profoundly impact a person's sense of self and connection. Moreover, I became more attuned to the subtle ways in which power and vulnerability operate in relationships. The wedding's unfolding illustrated how easily voices can be silenced or amplified, and how crucial it is to create spaces where everyone has the opportunity to be heard and affirmed. On a personal level, this experience strengthened my resilience and self-compassion. I learned to approach myself with patience and kindness, acknowledging that healing from emotional wounds is a process marked by progress and setbacks. The memory of that day, both its pain and grace, became a source of wisdom and strength guiding me through life's complexities. In time, I also came to see the importance of forgiveness, not necessarily for reconciliation at any cost, but as a means to release burdens that hinder growth and peace. Understanding that holding on to resentment or hurt often perpetuates suffering allowed me to move toward emotional freedom. The wedding story, with its profound contrasts, became an emblem of the human experience, where light and shadow coexist, and where the capacity for love and hurt intertwines. It taught me that belonging is not a fixed destination but a dynamic journey shaped by intention, courage, and grace. Today, as I look back, I carry with me the lessons and insights born from that day. They enrich my relationships, inform my values, and inspire my ongoing quest for authentic connection. The whispers of exclusion and the spoken calls of inclusion alike serve as reminders of the vital importance of presence, acknowledgement, and the unwavering human need to be truly seen. This journey continues to unfold, inviting me to embrace complexity with compassion and to cultivate spaces, within myself and with others, where belonging flourishes and resilience thrives. The wedding's legacy is a testament to transformation, hope, and the enduring power of human connection to heal and uplift. Building on this evolving understanding, I took deliberate steps to integrate these insights into my daily life. I became more proactive in nurturing relationships that honored mutual respect and authenticity, striving to be present and supportive while also protecting my own emotional boundaries. This balance was essential for fostering connections that uplifted rather than depleted me. In social and professional settings, I sought to embody the lessons learned from the wedding's juxtaposition, a commitment to speak kindly, listen deeply, and recognize the inherent worth in others. I saw how small acts of acknowledgement, offering a smile, a word of encouragement, or simply genuine attention, could counteract feelings of invisibility and foster belonging. The impact of that day also led me to explore creative outlets for expressing and processing emotions. Writing became a refuge and a powerful tool for self-reflection, enabling me to articulate complex feelings and transform pain into narrative strength. Sharing these stories with trusted confidants helped cultivate empathy, connection, and healing. Importantly, I embraced the principle that self-worth is not contingent on external validation but must be rooted internally. This shift allowed me to step away from the damaging cycle of seeking approval from those who dismiss or diminish me and instead cultivate a steady foundation of self-acceptance and confidence. The journey was not without setbacks. Moments of doubt and vulnerability surfaced, particularly when old wounds were inadvertently reopened. Yet, equipped with a deeper awareness and growing resilience, I navigated these challenges with compassion and patience, recognizing them as integral to growth rather than failure. I also became mindful of how to engage with family dynamics moving forward. While I sought to bridge gaps when possible, I acknowledged the necessity of boundaries where relationships proved harmful or toxic. This nuanced approach enabled me to maintain integrity and protect my well-being while remaining open to healing. Throughout this ongoing journey, the echoes of the wedding day, its bittersweet contrasts of whispered rejection and spoken inclusion, continued to inform my understanding of identity, belonging, and human connection. They reminded me that every person carries stories of pain and hope, invisibility and recognition, and that embracing this complexity fosters empathy and deepens relationships. Ultimately, the lessons distilled from that pivotal moment encouraged me to live with intention and courage, to seek out, create, and contribute to communities where respect, authenticity, and belonging thrive. This commitment has shaped not only how I relate to others but also how I honor and nurture myself. The wedding's legacy, woven into the fabric of my life, remains a powerful reminder of the transformative potential within every moment of conflict and grace. It is a story of resilience, affirmation, and the enduring human quest to be seen, valued, and loved in all our complexity. This journey continues, unfolding with each new experience and connection. As I strive to embody the lessons learned and foster a life marked by authenticity, compassion, and meaningful belonging. It stands as a testament to the human spirit's capacity to transcend pain and cultivate hope, healing, and connection amidst life's ever-changing tapestry. Acquiesced o desenvolvimento do tópico 1, Arrival and Atmosphere at the Wedding Ceremony conform solicitude. The last topic, Aftermath, Reconciliation, Self-Worth, and New Perspective, marks the continuation and deepening of the journey sparked by the wedding day's pivotal moments. Following the ceremony and reception, I found myself facing a period of profound internal reckoning, an opportunity to process the complex emotions stirred by both the whispered dismissal and the public acknowledgement. In the days and weeks afterward, I began to explore what reconciliation might mean for me, not necessarily in terms of repairing every family rift immediately, but as a broader process of healing and acceptance. It was about making peace with past hurts, while setting the stage for healthier interactions moving forward. This required honesty, courage, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about myself and others. Central to this phase was a renewed understanding of self-worth. No longer tethered primarily to external validation, I worked to cultivate a deeper, more resilient sense of value rooted in my experiences, strengths, and integrity. The painful encounter at the wedding became a catalyst for this growth, a reminder that worth is inherent and not diminished by others' disregard. This new perspective also helped me redefine what belonging means. I recognize that true belonging involves spaces where authenticity is embraced and respect flows freely, rather than conditional acceptance based on past grievances or power dynamics. It encouraged me to seek relationships and communities that support mutual growth and genuine connection. The aftermath was not without challenges. There were moments of doubt, nostalgia for what might have been, and occasional setbacks. However, these were met with increasing self-compassion and a commitment to continue on a path of healing and empowerment. Engaging in conversations with family, friends, or counselors became part of this process, providing clarity, empathy, and strategies for navigating complex dynamics. It was a balancing act, honoring emotions while fostering constructive dialogue and boundary setting. Ultimately, this ongoing journey affirmed that reconciliation begins within, through forgiving oneself, recognizing personal growth, and choosing hope over bitterness. It laid the foundation for more authentic relationships and a richer, more grounded sense of self. Through this transformation, what started as a painful episode unfolded into a powerful narrative of resilience, courage, and renewal. The wedding's defining moment, where whispered rejection met spoken recognition, was not the end but a beginning, inspiring a lifelong commitment to self-respect, healing, and belonging. The experience remains a source of strength and guidance, reminding me that even in the face of rejection, it is possible to reclaim worth, build bridges, and embrace a future shaped by compassion and authenticity. This chapter in my life stands as a testament to the enduring human spirit and the transformative power of acknowledgement and love.